War. Good God. So, previously, we carried out some cleanup operations in North America, installed an occupational garrison throughout the continental United States, or at least the portions of it that we were given custody of, largely East Coast holdings. We chased down the last holdouts of the U.S. Army that were camped out in Alaska, and in doing so also managed to stamp out a lot of the remaining U.S. fleet. We found near zero resistance inside of Canada, so we're very quickly able to sweep in, knock over the local government, and install ourselves. Occupational forces have piled in, and we are keeping track of all of that. We've also gone ahead and pushed into Newfoundland and Labrador, so we have a nice foothold on the continent, plenty of resources and industry secured. Weird stressing on how I said that there. Anyway, and also importantly, positioning, since we have now all sorts of harbors all along the East American coast from which to, really, as much as I hate constantly canceling things I said I was going to do elsewhere, the situation has changed drastically in our favor, such that really we don't need to go to Europe through the Mediterranean anymore. So I'm probably going to delete these amphibious plans to island hop up the Red Sea. And instead, our eventual approach to Europe will be probably Greenland to Iceland to one of these little fellows up here, yeah, Perot, probably. And then from there, we would have both a nice port to launch out of, and if we propped up an airport there, we could conduct strategic bombing of the British Isles, by which to perhaps someday unleash atoms. We're still more than a year away from figuring out how to weaponize atoms, but by the time that occurs, we will have many a reactor ready to generate fuel and several planes large enough to carry the hypothetical bomb of atoms to its eventual destinations somewhere. Maybe London, maybe Birmingham. Perhaps Bristol will be first to feel the wrath of atoms. Yeah, let's plan for how we're going to approach Europe, that we can reasonably set up as a precursor to that. Figure we're going to have some amphibious troops set themselves up, and then from Panama, which we did seize after finishing with the US, probably go from Panama, quickly pop over and seize the Guianas, since there is a substantial quantity of aluminum here, which is one of the few war materials that we don't have abundance, or at least decent quantities of at this point, and would be very important for continuing to leverage our way through the air war. More for us, less for them. Good times all around. Oh, and we're at war with Russia. Land war in Russia. We're invading via Siberia, via Mongolia, more so. This is where we're going to make the real progress. We just kind of stepped across the border and are going to stop right here and be quite happy to leave Joe with everything north of that line. We will just stay on this side where there are roads and rails and food. Anything past that point he can have. For the time being, at no point do we expect to regret any offensive operations against the Russians, who, well, they have certainly brought out a fair number of boys to face us on the battlefield. The soldiers we have are performing well. We have been trading casualties quite nicely on the big board. And we have managed to reach first our major strategic checkpoints along the way of whichever lake this is. I do not know the names of many major lakes in this part of the continent, but out here by Irkutsk. We are north of Mongolia, and we've occupied substantial Mongolian industry as well. All of Mongolia being one big state makes it a pretty valuable, juicy target to go after. Quite nice. Anyway, it's September of 1945, so with the coldness looming, The plan for the land war was to just kind of cool it for a bit, settle down, dig in, build some planning bonuses, and get ready to resume aggression in the new year when things thaw. And when we do resume aggression, it will be down here primarily. We'll force our way through Sinkiang, through Turkestan there, head through the other stands, and try to make our way to the Caspian. Primarily, since if we go ahead and pop over the resource map, yeah, all the valuable materials on the way to Russia are mostly down here. There's some aluminum past the lake, but like up here, up past these latitudes, no relevant war materials for us. There's people, there's not even any factory slots in there, so no facilities we could seize. Yeah, there's barely tens of thousands of people in each of these states. Low priority targets, things we'd rather just wait to have flip on capitulation or swoop in and deal with after we've distracted Joe somewhere else. Where, speaking of, there hasn't been much sign of Joe slowing down on his own European campaign since we started this, but hopefully the soldiers he has had to send to deal with us will be giving the Allies a bit of a chance to bounce back and consume more of his men, and their own men, keep them nice and distracted. So when we left off, there was some mild fighting going on in Mongolia. Nothing too big, and nothing we probably can't handle. Army-wise, we were in the process of rolling out some degree of mechanization, starting with integrating a bunch of our surplus tanks into our various infantry units out in the field, and starting to upgrade our mobile units to make use of new motorized stuff. A lot of that modernization is waiting on vaguely next year. We're going to figure out the modern main battle tank and get, you know, post-World War armor, settle on the one tank to rule them all, and the one ship to rule them all, as we have, in a grand act of celebratory hubris, committed a lot of our naval industry to glory. Yeah, three super heavy battleships in production in parallel right now. All glory to them. We have an abundance of industry, though, for the first time in ages. We're going to make heavy use of it to hopefully convert our, like, janky old soft army into a fine, hardened fighting machine. We'll see how well that works out. At the very least, taking a bit of a break through the winter will give us a chance to recover equipment shortfalls, conduct further upgrades. The only significant navies left... The English have 300 warships. Yeah, Joe is not significant, boat-wise. And if I can find some remaining American territory, I can check on... Yeah, there's still at less than 100 US Navy warships out there unaccounted for. We have been pretty good about hunting them wherever we find them, though. At this point, it's probably mostly old submarines, which are a very persistent nuisance, but not a big deal. We can handle them. Did they really not put any... Okay, yeah, there's some steel in Chile. Would have been a hell of a thing if they were just absent. But anyway, yeah, we're preparing to settle in there, and let's do a bit of management. Sure, I already told... Yeah, all the attack plans are called off, except for the Mountaineers, who were attempting to push the line down here, through the hills. That's a campaign I think is narrow enough that we can keep running it. Mountaineers on mountain terrain will do good work for that. And let's see, boat-wise, we've got presence all about the Indian Ocean. And we have containment around the Americas, by and large. Anywhere that the US Navy could be operating out of, we have under guard. A coup, our next attempt to coup the Mexican government was about to fire, so we'll see how that starts going once we have it activated. I think it's a couple days away. Yeah, 3 days. 25th. We will let the Synarchists? Yeah, Synarchists take another shot. Let's see, Team Burmashave. You're a bunch of regular infantry that I've really firmly considered switching over to being Marines, even since I keep using them to support my naval invasions anyway. Beach Lords, yeah, let's cancel this. I'm still gonna keep Ceylon built up as a naval base. It's a good naval base. It'll be great for if I eventually have to go to Africa, which I might. But no need to have any invasion plans running out of it right now. Instead, I want the Beach Lords to draw some new schemata. Let's see. Panama. There. Of Cone. Go over here. And I guess a third prong could launch from Florida? Yeah, starting in Miami. Over to here. And just distribute these soldiers accordingly. I don't expect we'll need many of them to get this done. I'll go with quartets, just for the hell of it. So yeah, that'll be half of the Beach Lords assigned to that operation. And the rest, I could start drawing them up lines to get ready for Operation Reverse Viking here. Wherein, let's see, out of Newfoundland, Greenland, and I'll have a line prepared for, say, out of Halifax, Iceland. I'm not going to bother launching flanking attacks with the invasion for Iceland, because map-wise, the geometry of the whole island is just 3 provinces, and like the distances on board between these are large enough that a division can very nearly starve to death if they try to walk from one end of Iceland to the other without already having a port active. So landing over here on the east end and then trying to walk to Reykjavik is a death march. I had that come up during one of my other side games as Sweden. It was not a pleasant time for anyone involved. So we're going to ideally just leverage the fact that we do have really good marine units, and we'll be able to push naval influence out here and support with bombardment and so forth. And importantly, this is outside of reasonable air combat range of the UK, so we'll be safe from the bees. The bottomless swarm of hornets that is the Royal Air Force. Tens of thousands of aircraft to blot out the sun. Since we've monopolized the world's rubber, they won't be able to replace those planes very efficiently when we start killing them, but it will take ages to gnaw through that reserve. Alright, so, Beach Lords, launch the, let's see, 1, 2, 3. There. We're here. Last 4. Let's set you up to sail from Boston to our eventual target island way the hell out there. Just on paper. I'll probably end up swapping that out for a different line eventually, but for now that will get them to shuffle their way over to North America. And that will do just fine. So let's set time rolling. And likewise, I think... bring you guys out there, or just leave you standing around in case I... yeah. Just in case I end up needing soldiers on hand somewhere out here. It'll just be a nice, comfy reserve. El Salvador and Venezuela want to join the Prosperity Sphere? Hell yes! Get in here! Welcome! One and all. Yeah, no focus set, but that's because all we have left of the kamikaze focus is... yeah, war with the British... ongoing. I was meaning at some point to, like, put together a, like, complete running tally of vaguely how many casualties all the majors have taken over the course of the world wars so far. Which, since this has been a weird, messy, multilateral war, sometimes the game seems to have a bit of confusion and vagueness about which war it will classify casualties under. But yeah, I'm thinking I will like go back over the footage and put together the last best-known estimates of how many have died in total from us and from Britain and from the Russians and so forth. Has Goring surrendered yet? Yeah, how is what's left? Well, what's left of the Axis is Bill, since Bill joined them instead for reasons. German-Czech War. Goring has not quite folded yet. He is holding out hope. Ben is down. Franco is starting to feel the burn. India's doing fine, though. And yes, right now the Axis majors are the Germans, the Spaniards, and Free America. The Allied majors are Britain and Yugoslavia. Joe might take care of Yugoslavia for us if he doesn't stall out. If he's able to keep up the momentum just a little longer, Zagreb will fall. We'll see how that goes. And let's see, unfilled imports. America isn't sending me their aluminum, nor is Vichy France. That might just be a time is frozen deal at the moment. But yes, we have an extensive reserve of aircraft, as we should. Yeah, look at that, thousands of zeros. Love it. We'll find them good, comfy homes. Let's see, yeah, I had active air support running over our front against Joe. Not in Central Asia yet. Do I have an airport near here. Good. Well, I think that's technically China's, but yeah, they're in factions, so I can deploy there. Unlike certain other people. Reorganized China appreciates the value of our aircraft. And let's see. Send a couple wings of Hayabusas. And actually, SMDA 3s. You will head out there. Will immediately deploy to the local air zone and do what you do best. There are no carrier-compatible jet aircraft in the tech tree right now. The early jet aircraft featured in the game are all purely land-based. Yep, manpower remains terminally low, as is normal. Yeah, we closed off our economy, we're done exporting, we have so much domestic industry that we We were spending more on imports than we were getting back from our resource exports. And, let's see... minus 10 output, minus 10 construction speed... versus 30 and 30, and plus 30 training time. That will be noticeable when we have to make that jump. When, not if. There are no further delusions about draft escalation. Draft escalation. The ass draft will intensify, no question. No doubt. If we're not running any attacks, though, we can probably chill for a while. It'll be at least next year. And we have like 600 factories now, so... oh boy, we will be losing some percentages, but... I think we'll manage. And Venezuela is in, El Salvador is in. We'll keep an eye out for anyone else who's willing to flip. Turkey joins the Allies. What a poor life decision you've made. You are completely enveloped in Joe. Well, on the north sides. Who knows, maybe there's a bunch of British in Egypt waiting to swoop up there and start a fight in the mountains. Or maybe they will just be next on the buffet. What the fuck just happened to the Beach Lords? Those had better be orphans and not deaths. Yeah, orphans. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 orphan divisions. Good. Well, inconvenient that this still happens on the interface, because it's weird and wonky, but good that these were not wiped out somehow. Okay, they sailed the stupid way round and seem to be bouncing off of something. Where are you retreating to? Bizarre. Oh, there's these weird leftover lines as well. I should destroy those. And... India keeps giving sections of itself over to Goring's administration. This will hopefully be something that's very high on the to-do list. All of Japan campaign has been occurring with the 1.1 patch, the first major update that they rolled out post-release, and the one that they got out before, like, all of Sweden went on vacation for a couple of months. So there's been no further work on that. Once they return to their offices, there's sure to be all manner of efforts put out on that front, and yeah, God. Why would you try to travel the stupid direction through hostile waters instead of through our grand and prosperous, you know, Pacific bubble of safety? Welcome back, Synarchist Mexico. Okay, all of you, you 5, are the orphans who were bounced out of the Beach Lords. Can I put you back in, or will you vanish again? Okay, they're staying back. Don't appear to have taken any damage, they just got confused somewhere. Yes, succeeded to stage. Paradox event grammar, and oh, great. What a lovable, tiny coup nation we've created here. Well, better send you guns. Guns and convoys, here you go. Have some boat. Battle in the North Pacific. Who is still out here? Okay, British convoys. British, maybe transports? No good? Who knows? They probably won't use those guns. They will probably fail, just like all of the other coups have been nothing but disappointments. That includes you, Bill. Our largest and oldest disappointment. Oh, is there still fighting out here? Well, that's Bill's problem. What are you waiting for? Oh, you're hesitant to move due to supply constraints. Yeah, of course. We are working on rebuilding local rail. Some sort of higher standard. It's gotten a little bit stashed behind the atoms. Yep, Republic of Turkey joins British-Japanese War. And Venezuela and El Salvador want in on the fighting. Not yet, children. Let's see. Okay, you're all trying to transport the stupid direction. You idiots. Every one of you idiots shipped to Honolulu. And wow, I am overusing Mongolian infrastructure right now. The current bottleneck is Mongolia itself, which is under drastic repair. Good. High priority to repair and upgrade Mongolian infrastructure. We have got that under control. Right, Singapore is occupied territory, not properly annexed like North Malay is. Alright, I'm gonna have to add you to a garrison zone. Back in you go. For Kashmir, Central Philippines, which for some reason still have not received any new police. And Guam. And that is because I mistakenly removed Guam from the occupation template. That is now corrected. Hopefully, upon arriving in Hawaii, they will then understand that the shortest distance to their destinations is via Panama. Bill. They damn well better correct that, because it's a hell of a problem. What are you guys doing? Right. Also, being hesitant to enter areas of poor supply. So you're loitering on the other side of the planet, instead of at very least going to the same continent as the battlefield that I've assigned you to. Very good. Yep, air support established over Central Asia. Likely much appreciated by the troops we have active in the area. There we go, we're pretty ready to settle in for some low-intensity campaigning. Right, we were going to try to knock over the rest of this state. Looks like we have, yep, steel, more chrome. And we can spend the winter continuing to rebuild and reinforce all the rail lines here. Supply line that is still refusing to trace through Korea. And though we have created the foundations of the ultimate road chain, I mean, goddamn, look at this. 10 out of 10 highway to Manchuria. Be a while before any of the Marines get into position to go for Kiana, but when they do, that's on the agenda. Assign you guys to join the South Island pile, since evidently there are still soft spots in that. And we're already straining supply here, no need to send more bodies whose jobs are just to stand in the back. Not when they're taking up precious spam capacity from the proper fighters. And we're within a week of meeting current half-track obligations. Good. Growing heavy tank deficit. Equally strong light tank surplus. There we go. Let things get nice and low intensity while we sort our shit out. Since we do outproduce even our highest estimates of Soviet military production capacity. They're more civilian than we do. But you can't fight wars with toasters. Besides, we have all the civilian we need to create atoms. They'll get the job done. good. Very good. Can we... Yeah, we can... I'm gonna dive for stronger logistics company and stronger field hospital. Supply weight and manpower savings, both crucial to our long-term health in this war. Already just getting that upgrade straight off, yeah. Noticeable dip. We were up at like 80 before. Now that's improved. And we have a support equipment surplus again. Very good. Nice and healthy. Healthy frontline army. Yeah, we're near the end of science. I can just dive straight in for the top tier half track. I think I'll keep it the basic one for now, just out of cost considerations. Yes, we have a nice quiet winter where we build everyone a warm, cozy tank to take shelter in. Rue, I admire your initiative, but I don't like your odds. Nice of you to join us out here. But please, be sure to thoroughly review your pamphlets before you commit to any operations in the area. Follow all relevant regulations and guidelines. Who am I influencing right now? Russia, Sweden, Bolivia, Brazil, Ecuador. A fair crop. Why did you bounce out of that plan? Game, please. You have to communicate to me what is even happening when these errors occur. Gladly play by the rules, but the rules must be well publicized. I get our next new fleet marshalling over here. will be the new home of our new super heavies. This is Yamamoto's new team. The latest in gun technology. I can be left unlit for now. Would like to keep a fair amount of liquid power in place, just in case laws need to be shuffled. And looks like there's a pretty good absence of any effective Soviet counterattacks. And you idiots have pushed into a new supply zone. Stop that. Yeah, that's exactly where the lake is, so that's where I want you all to be. All of these that I stripped the tanks off of, you can have them back. Pigeon yourselves, all of you. Or it's for everyone. And our mobile infantry unit can safely say that they have no interest in doing anything north of that lake. I want them entirely deployed down south, where the treasure is. In fact, I might even move them farther south and have them operate along these lines, especially with all this wide open terrain out here. Be able to rampage across that, wild and free. What? What am I grabbing here? Why this arrow? I grabbed a front line. You an attack line? Is that what's going on here? Bodies of water. Inland bodies of water just completely confuse the interface. What are lakes? We just don't know. And now a Marine division has actually vanished off the face of the earth. Struck dead by who even fucking knows. The game hasn't given me any warning that something could have occurred. Just have one less Marine than I did before. The Kraken remains at large. Oh, that was in manpower, just lost without so much as a klaxon or whoop. Senseless. At least some of you seem to have the right idea now. Okay, supply concerns are continuing. As they do. Naval combat in the Caribbean. Between what and who? USS Hawaii. Yeah, America's surviving fleet is probably mostly lurking Caribbean Isles. At least the Synarchists have a small and extremely defensible front. Maybe I should just talk to the current Mexican government and convince them some sort of grassroots political initiative. It would appear that all my local political sympathizers are kinda shit at armed uprisings. This army is the tiny batch of cavalry that are guarding the Indian Ocean. The few gains I made there. No, that's fine. You can just stay Army 2. Why do I have anyone here? What is this? One line has the job of garrisoning all of the land that we're taking, carrying our offense against the Comintern, so the fuck are you storing soldiers in India? That is not your zone. Okay, so my supplies are now being bottlenecked here because the line is tracing itself across all of mainland China. What? Well, we know how to improve on the Yamato once the first generation of them are built. At least we have that. Finish off landing craft. And... like, no, really, what is this? If only you had some other, richer path to draw for your supply. What is this? It wants to trace my supply. What? From North Melee? Starting from our capital, where there is 10 infrastructure. And a size 10 naval base. We have max rank infrastructure through all of Korea, and a rank 10 naval base in South Korea. There, 10 there. 8 in Mongolia. And the supply system decides to do this. Why are they deciding to have it even leave the homeland? From down here for some reason. Yes, I have to build a highway through unrelated parts of southern China? Instead of using, you know, the pre-existing flawless shining path that I've cut through Manchuria? Of which puts delays on atom production due to nonsense. Pathfinding system could they be using where this is possibly a preferable route? To the point that my folks in here are apparently tracing supply up round the bend instead of through reorganized China? When there's a fairly serviceable belt of grade 4 infrastructure here? which was enough to cause all of you to freeze in place in the Siberian wasteland because you're worried about moving to a region that has supply strain from a region that has no supply at all, where you are all dying of starvation. There, flip some of you idiots back to regular infantry. And more importantly, everyone in Mongolia is being bottlenecked by this. Our proper primary fighting line. All of our heavy equipment is called for. Some kind of console command I can invoke? Let's see, I have the 2 tank lines here. A full-bore rocket artillery line, but that's because I'm working on creating rocket artillery units from scratch. Instructing the game to reload supply has caused it to crash. The error report follows. Fortunately, it was early December when I decided to do that, so we're not far from an autosave. OBS, kindly reacquire the Hearts of Iron, if you don't mind. It's right here. Right, going to take down the street momentarily.